Good morning, everyone. It is another glorious day. It is Wednesday, the 10th of July, 2024. It's 9 a.m. here in Tucson, Arizona, which means it is time for the Mindful Moment. I'm Dr. Jonathan Zenz. I'm the Senior Minister at Unity of Tucson. And the Mindful Moment is an opportunity that I take each weekday, Monday through Thursday, to engage in some spiritual practice, to talk about a spiritual idea, and also engage in the practice of affirmative prayer. And I do this, and I choose to be consistent in this practice by doing it every Monday through Thursday. That's what I'm saying. Because what I have found is that a consistency in my spiritual practice has enhanced the quality of my life. And so, as I consider these ideas that I bring forth, it is enhancing my life. I trust that it is, working for you in an enhancing kind of way. Whether you're watching live or on the replay, I would love for you to post a comment and let me know that you are here. Always love to see those comments coming through. Let's see. Yes. Yeah, interesting. So yes, I put a call out yesterday for how we may move forward, and that is to invite questions. And so some questions are already coming through. Let me say hello. Woohoo Wednesday. Hi, Sherry. Grateful to see you. And Beryl has this question. But before I go to the questions, I do want to offer my reminder, which is to say this: you are love, you are light, you are life, you are magnificent. And I am so grateful that you shine your light and share your magnificence. So please do continue that. So I know, Beryl, I see your question. William is here. Great to be back home. Grateful to see you. Roberta, I have your question in queue. You commented a question, and so that is in queue today. But I'm going to start with Beryl's question today. She wrote, "Good morning. How would you describe the difference between the personal and the universal? Is there a difference?" The way that I would answer that question is the philosophy that I am, adhering to in my own life. Would say there is no difference between the personal and the universal. Now, part of it is the personal and the universal what? Because we are personalizations of the universal. So that's something to perhaps consider. We are, each and every one of us, personal individualizations of the universal. So there is no difference there. We personalize the infinite universal. The other way to think about it is the personal. We may sometimes differentiate between the personal law and the universal law. They're one and the same, because the exact same way that God, the infinite creative source, creates by contemplation is the same way that we create by contemplation. We teach in this philosophy that everything begins as an idea in mind, and that everything that flows forth is the expression of that idea. Well, that works in the universal as well as the individualization, the personal. And so we are personalizations of the universal. What that sometimes can mean is that, we are on a constant journey of uncovering the universal as personalizations. Because one of the things I always say is that while I am happy to stand up on a platform and say, I am God, you are God, what we are not saying is that we are the allness of God. We are a personalized expression of. We are facets of the divine. We have access to the infinite. We can call upon the infinite at any time, but our awareness is a limited awareness. And just for a moment, think about the infinite. Just think about it. How do you think about the infinite? How do you think about the infinite? Because the challenge of thinking about the infinite is that to think about the infinite, we automatically limit it, and it is no longer infinite. So we actually cannot comprehend truly the infinite except to say that it is without edges. So we perceive ourselves with edges, but it doesn't mean that the fundamental nature of us is any different than the fundamental nature of the creative source. So I trust that answers your question. How do we describe the difference between the personal and the universal? The the easy answer, well, the easy answer, that's hilarious. The quick answer is there is no difference. And when we at Unity, we've adopted this mission statement: love only, forgive everything, remember who you are. Remembering who you are is remembering that you are a facet of the universal wholeness, and that there is no separation. You cannot be separate from. And so, in remembering who we are, what I have found is that remembering who I am is the great, deep understanding of this universal presence as me. That's what I want to remember, and it has made my life better. So there we are. You're very welcome, Beryl. I see that. Thank you. You're very welcome. Grateful to see you, and grateful to see you, Anita. Good morning. So I did receive an email this morning that was a comment on YouTube from Roberta. She asked this question: how can we use imagination to address potential negative outcomes, as in failure of imagination? I was thinking about this question, and I wasn't quite sure, to be honest, Roberta, I wasn't quite sure what the question was. So I kind of dug into it a little bit in my own mind. And you've put failure of imagination into quotes, and there's actually a source for that phrase, failure of imagination. And it actually, although I think there are many sources, but it fundamentally came into the lexicon of the United States because of the 9/11 attacks, and that as they were, what's the word I'm looking for? The word I'm looking for is, as they were doing the investigation around the various departments that seemed to have a failure in determining that these attacks were imminent, they are saying that it was a failure of imagination. That is where that actually came out to be a very strong phrase in that exploration. And so the idea is that there was such a limited, narrow view of activities that were happening that nobody used their imagination to the degree that said, hey, this is a potential that could happen. And so how does that apply to our everyday lives? Are we willing to open up the breadth of our imagination so that we can perceive those ways in which we might address things that could be considered failures in retrospect? I have certainly had some missteps in my life. I don't know about you, that as I looked back in retrospect, I could say, oh, had I thought about it in this way, I probably could have seen that coming. And so imagination is actually a way that we can break away from the limited, narrow view, if we're willing to trust it, to break open the bounds of imagination, to break open the bounds of our thinking, so that we can look at through a wider lens of the potential and possibility. So the idea is, basically, we can address potential negative outcomes by breaking open the imagination. Now, do we want to get morbidly rooted in trying to figure it out all the time? Probably not. But if there's something that is weighing heavily in your life, in your heart, perhaps take a look at it and break open the narrow view to see what are the potentials that exist within this. I hope that answers your question. Yes, Mel, grateful to see you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Jeannie, you wrote, while meditating this morning, I felt Jesus strongly. Then the words, be Jesus. Now you speak of thinking about the infinite. So lovely. Well, thank you. Grateful to see you. Yes. And ultimately, the idea is that, in the same way that Jesus demonstrated his divinity, we are all invited to demonstrate our divinity. And that is why we talk about Jesus as a great way shower of the Christ consciousness, essentially, that we are all part of that infinite wholeness. So thank you for that. Yes, be Jesus, which is also, we can also say, be love. That's what Jesus stood for. love, forgiveness, remembering who you are. That was his message. So I think that's our message. So with that, I'm going to invite us all into the practice of affirmative prayer. If it is safe and comfortable, feel free to close your eyes. I choose to close my eyes as an invitation, to deepen into the awareness of the one wholeness, the one power and presence, to deepen into the imaginative unfoldment that is all creation. I deepen in this moment to a greater recognition and understanding of the one, the power, the presence, the creative source, the energy that I call God. I am open in this moment to a realization that that is the only thing that exists. There is nothing else. There is nothing else. There can be nothing separate from the infinite. And so all things in the realm of perception and everything beyond the realm of perception, it's all God. God, the shorthand word that I use for the infinite source, the infinite creative spirit, the infinite magnificence. And rooted in this understanding, I know that this is who I am. This is who each and every one of us is. We are the light. We are the power. We are the presence. We are the magnificence. We are the glory of God. For there can be nothing separate from. We are part of this infinite wholeness. And we are utilizing the creative source, the infinite creative source on a personalized level, exactly the same way that the universal creates. We are in the act of creating. And so I choose in this moment to break open the bounds of limitation in my mind, opening up in imaginative ways to welcome the good, to welcome kindness, to welcome the constructs and expressions of peace, to welcome the magnificent flow of love, recognizing that love is at the core of all of it. Love, the creative source, the creative factor. So I know that in love, as love, I am the unfoldment. We are the unfoldment. I relax into this. I trust in this unfoldment. I trust in the imagination. And I trust that as I break open the bounds of limited thinking, I am empowered to create magnificently. And so with gratitude and appreciation overflowing, I simply let it be. I relax, I trust, I know, and let it be so. And I affirm it by saying, and so it is. Amen. And so it is. So grateful to share this time with you. You know, I take my glasses off because I hate seeing that reflection of myself in my glasses on the screen that I see in front of myself. All right. So if you have any questions, like I say, I think that this may be the new way it unfolds, is to say, hey, if you have questions, send me questions. Let's be engaged in conversation around these spiritual things, because I have lots of things that I can always talk about, but I want to know what you want to hear. So you can send questions to me at revjonathan@unitytucson.com. I will address questions and as they come in subsequently. They will, like questions that came in yesterday, I addressed today. So feel free to send me questions. You can also comment wherever you're watching, on Facebook or on YouTube. I do check those comments, and so if you have questions, you can just put them right into the comment fields there. So I will check those out as well. You can also check out everything that's happening here at Unity of Tucson by going to unitytucson.com. Lots of stuff is always unfolding. We have Sunday service at 10 a.m. every Sunday. We have Wednesday midday practice at 12:30 p.m. right in the middle of the day, if you'd like to join us for a prayer service. And yeah, like, subscribe, follow, all that jazz. You know, all the things that people are always asking you to do on social media and through these channels. Here's the great news. If you like and or subscribe or follow, you'll get notifications when I go live. So you'll always be connected. I mean, we're always connected anyway. That's something to think about. So, peace and blessings to you. We'll see you soon. And yeah, make your day magnificent. And know that you are magnificent, not because of anything you do. It is simply the core of your being. All right. Bye, everybody.